Welcome all of you to this beautiful session of trigonometry. And as you can see, even in this year of J Advance, a simple question on trigonometry came. Okay, so here is a good collection of problems. Most of them I have uncopied again in my textbook. So let's start with the question. First one is find the sum of all x in this interval for which this equation is satisfied. Now in the first look, question seems fairly easy, but once we'll do it, you can face the challenge. So straightforward is a quadratic. So cos x I'm going to get as cot x is minus 8 plus minus 2 root 2 by 6. So we have got 2 root. Now if I'll see the cot x graph in 0 to 2 pi, so tan 0 is 0, so cot 0 will be infinity. At pi by 2 it's going to be 0, and at pi it's minus infinity. And same just pi plus, it's going to be plus infinity, and we'll have 3 pi by 2 is 0 and 2 pi is back to minus infinity, right? So roughly this will be the graph. Now we know this both value is negative. This minus 8 plus this 2 root 2 is way lesser than this. So if I'll draw, let's say one root is alpha and beta. So this guy is y equals alpha and y equals beta. So clearly I have 4 solutions. Let's denote this solution by x1 and x2. Let's call this x3 and x4, right? So now the problem with this question is cot inverse of this value minus 8 plus 2 root 2 by 6 is not a standard value, right? So it's minus 4 plus minus root 2 by 3. So this is not a standard angle. So how will you add the sum of all the values without actually finding the angle? So here is underlying trick in this question that makes it beautiful. We already know the product of products. Say if we have x1 and x2, so cot x1 is going to be alpha and cot x2 is going to be beta. Now from the equation, the product of root alpha into beta is 1 cy, right? Moreover, sum of root alpha plus beta is minus gy is minus 8 by 3. So यहाँ से what I can say is that both x1 and x2, okay, will have the properties that cot x1, if it is alpha, and cot x2 is beta, as you can see from the graph. So that must give 1, where x1 and x2 both belongs to the interval of pi by 2 to pi. So hence x1 plus x2 will belong to pi to 2 pi. Okay, so now we need to find a relation between x1 and x2 such that their product of cot is 1, and we have to filter from this window. That's not a very great game, because we can write cot x1 equals tan x2, and tan can be written as cot of 3 pi by 2 minus theta, right? So from here, if I'll see what is cot of 3 pi by 2 minus theta, this will be in third quadrant, certainly positive, so that is actually tan x2, and by comparing we got x1 plus x2 equals 3 pi by 2. Of course, instead of 3 pi by 2, you would have selected some other angle, but that will not make it within this window of pi and 2 pi. Okay, so the only possibilities for x1 and x2 is 3 pi by 2. Suppose instead of writing cot 3 pi by 2, if you are writing cot x1 equals tan x2, and tan x2 if I write cot pi by 2 minus x2, so that will make x1 plus x2 equals pi by 2. Now this is not acceptable, clearly for this reason that you are in the window of pi and 2 pi. The second thing is, if x1 plus x2 is pi by 2, okay, so it means x1 and x2 both is lesser than pi by 2, which is not clear from the graph. Moreover, alpha plus beta we need negative. Okay, so many descriptions. In the same way, we can go ahead with x3 and x4 with the same restriction. Cot x3 into cot x4 has to be 1. And now I know x3 and x4 is from the window of 3 pi by 2 to 2 pi. So their summation will go to 3 pi to 4 pi. So x3 plus x4 must belongs to 3 pi to 4 pi. अब इस विंडो में still will try to solve. तो यहाँ पे भी we can see it will be now 5 pi by 2 will not work because 5 pi by 2 is not in this window. So next what will work is 7 pi by 2. Alright. So the beauty of the question is neither I know anything about x3 nor I know things about x4 exact angle, but their distribution is known that sum is going to be 7 pi by 2. So summing all the values sigma x I is x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4, and which gives 3 pi over 2 plus 7 pi over 2, 10 pi over 2. So answer is 5 pi. So this was really interesting question as well as challenging. So the analysis of quadrant and interval and basic manipulation was required here. This kind of analysis is often used when you're doing inverse trigonometric functions. Let's try the second question. So ABC is real number in 0 to pi by 2. Again, very important restriction. Prove that this expression equals 1 if and only if a equal to 1. Now while looking at the expression, you will be tempted to write these two as sin a square whole cube plus cos a square whole cube and use a cube plus b cube formula. Sin a square plus cos a square whole cube minus 3ab into a plus b. But there is something more to this question. Definitely I can write this as sin a square a whole cube plus cos a square b whole cube, a cube plus b cube. One I can pull that side, and interestingly I can write as c cube minus 1 cube and then minus 3ab. So minus 3 times sin a square a cos a square b and into minus 1 equals 0. So you see this expression can be recast in this fashion, and that makes our life very simple because a cube plus b cube plus c cube minus 3abc is a plus b plus c. So sin a square a plus cos a square b minus 1, and half times I can write a minus b whole square, b minus c whole square, and c minus a whole square. So sin a square a plus a whole square plus sin a square b. In fact, it's cos a square b plus 1 whole square and sin a square a minus cos a square b whole square equals 0. अब under what condition this will be true? Either this should die or this should die. Now this will never die. The reason is because sin a square a is always greater than or equal to 0. So that plus 1 is definitely never 0. So this RHS, the second expression, will never die. So the only possibility is sin a square a has to be 1 minus cos a square b if this is 0. And 1 minus cos a square b is back to sin a square b. So now either sin a will be sin b or sin a will be minus sin a. Sin a minus sin b is discarded because we are in the first quadrant. So both angle has to be positive. So the only possibility is a equal to b. Okay. In fact, sin a equals sin b will give a equals nb plus minus 1 ka power n pi. But if we play with the values of n, since we are in the window of 0 and pi by 2, so the only way it is possible is a equal to b. जैसे कोई बच्चा sin a equal to sin b को लिख सकता है sin pi minus theta. So then he will conclude a plus b equals pi. Right? अब a plus b, is it possible to have pi? देखो a is in the window of 0 to pi by 2, b is in the window of 0 to pi by 2. So the only way a plus b is pi when sin a is 1 means a is pi by 2 and b is pi by 2. But if a is pi by 2 and b is pi by 2, under this condition आप देख सकते हो ये 0 हो सकता है. ठीक है, तो एक तो पॉसिबिलिटीज मेरा आ सकता है a प्लस बी पाई होने का, दूसरा पॉसिबिलिटीज होगा a इक्वल्स b होने का. सो नाउ हाउ यू डिस्कार्ड द पॉसिबिलिटीज ऑफ a प्लस बी पाई, दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, तो इसको आप सोचिए a प्लस बी पाई होने का पॉसिबिलिटीज कैसे हम डिफाइन करें. देखो दैट यू कैन डिस्कार्ड बिकॉज इफ a इज पाई बाई 2 दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 1 and cos b is 0, cos b is 0 plus 1. तो यहाँ से the possibilities for pi by 2 is also open possibilities, right? So we'll have two solutions for this. Either a becomes b, or you have a plus b equals pi by 2. And we can reverse this step as well. Right? चलो next. तो यहाँ पे a plus b equals pi is also there. That's the possibilities. So you think over this, like whether a equal to b is the only condition, or is this reversible, or in fact a plus b equals pi will also work. अब देखो a plus b pi होने के साथ ही क्या हो रहा है, a equals b automatically that's generated. Okay, so this second case of a plus b equal to pi is by default taking care by equals b. So hence the answer is equals b. Let's move to the third question. So if theta is between 0 to 45, so it's completely acute. So you know the graph of expression a ka power x when a is more than 1 is just strictly increasing. right? So from there we can clearly see first which is more, tan theta or cot theta in this interval. So tan theta graph is going to be like this, and cot theta 0. So between 0 to pi by 4, you can clearly see cot is winning over tan. Okay, so base wise which will be more? Definitely cot theta is more than tan theta. So I can tell cot theta to the power tan theta will be more than tan theta to the power tan theta, right? But we have tan to the power cot theta. So how will you compare cot theta to the power tan theta and cot theta to the power tan theta? So that's easy to compare, because when the base is same, okay, if the power is stronger, definitely the fraction will be stronger, the overall fraction will be stronger, क्योंकि cot theta is more than 1, ये तो 1 से ज़्यादा है. So if the base is more than 1, the more powerful your head is, more powerful expression. तो ये cot theta stronger ही हो गया. So I can clearly see T4 will be greater than T3 because cot is more than theta, tan theta. So that is fine. Again with T1 and T2, अब देखो tan theta is since less than 1, so it's a fraction. Okay, so then if fraction we have, let's say half to the power 3 and half to the power 4, so which will be more? Clearly half to the power 3. Okay, so if tan theta and tan theta if I will compare, so if the head is powerful it will be less, so this to the power cot theta will be lesser than 10 to the power tan theta. So we have tug of war between T1 and T2, and we know like T1 wins over T2. Similarly we know T4 will win over T3. So now we need to compare any one guy from 1, 2 to 3, 4. And that's also not very difficult, because now what we can see, you compare 1 and 3. So which is more, tan theta or cot theta? Clearly cot theta is more than this, and this is more powerful, like is 2 suppose, then this is less than half, something like this, right? Or 1 by 3. So now what I'll do, और इसको आप हाफ ही ले सकते हो, because if cot theta is 2 for the same theta it will be half. Now if I'll take 2 to the power half and half ka power half, so clearly 2 ka power half will be more. So I can tell T3 is definitely more than T1. So finally T4 is highest, T3 is second highest, and among T1 and T2, T1 is more and then T2 is more. So the final answer is 4, 3, 1, 2. So this was a basic question, and on very fundamental basis this question could be solved. Let's try the next question. Suppose R contains all the points such that, this is interesting, it can be asked both in trigonometry and area bond. X square plus y square is less than or equal to 100, and sin x plus y is greater than or equal to 0. Now very interestingly you can see this circle represents x square plus y square equals 10 square, and inside the circle, if I'll take x square plus y square 100, this is circle, and any point inside the circular disk is going to represent this inequality, right? Next inequality is sin x plus y is greater than 100. So that's interesting, because if sin theta is more than or equal to 0, from the graph of sine curve we can easily check the angle will be 0 to pi, or pi to 2 pi, or minus pi to minus 2 pi, and so on. So here we know x plus y must belongs to 0 to pi, or x plus y belongs to 2 pi to 3 pi, or x plus y belongs to symmetrically minus 2 pi to minus pi, and so on so forth. यहाँ से एक और रीजन मिलेगा, यहाँ पे x plus y belongs to minus 3 pi to minus 4 pi, in fact minus 4 pi to minus 3 pi, and so on so forth. Now if we'll try to plug this value x plus y equals 0, so clearly it's a line with negative slope passing through origin. What about x plus y equals pi? So since this guy is 10, okay, and pi is 3 point something, so 10 divided by 3 point something is approximately 3 point something, यहाँ पर जाएगा little bit less than 3, ठीक है. So x plus y pi is going to give this line. So now x plus y should belongs to 0 to pi interval, so we'll have this chunk, and that is shown in this diagram. This is the first chunk obtained by x plus y between 0 to pi, ठीक है. अब नेक्स्ट चंक जो आएगा वो x plus y belonging to 2 pi to 3 pi. अब 3 pi will definitely be बिकॉज 3 इंटू 3.14 आप चेक कर सकते हो. सो 3 pi वैल्यू विल बी मोर देन 10. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे between 2 pi to 3 pi we'll get this region. Now by symmetricity minus 2 pi to minus pi, again we are getting this belt, and minus 4 pi to minus 3 pi is this. Now we need to find the area of this region. Now area is very interesting because if we add all this area by symmetricity, what we can conclude is this chunk area is exactly same as this area over here, right? By symmetricity, because whatever is left here is being filled there. And now the area in the negative portion from minus 3 pi to 4 pi is exactly same as the area here. So the sum of this yellow slice is nothing but area of just semicircle. तो यहाँ से आंसर क्या आ जाएगा? Half of the area of the circle. So area of circle is pi r square, which is 100 pi. So that divided by 2. So answer is 50 pi. So this is also a good question on the basics. So how we are going to plot the inequality, and at the same time how we take into consideration the circle radius. Let's study the next question, and I think this is fairly straightforward. तो इस क्वेश्चन में तो कुछ खास है नहीं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे f के x is given and we need to find f, actually prove that f4x minus f6x is 100. Okay. So there is many way of doing this. Since we know the options are constant or answer is constant, so one way is, what is f4x? 1 by 4 sine 4 plus cos 4, and minus 1 by 6 sine 6 plus cos 6. So a straightforward technique will be to use sine square plus cos square minus 1 by 6 sine square whole cube plus cos square whole cube. Now if we simplify this, a plus b whole square, so 1 minus 2ab, so 2 sine square cos square, so by 4. And this expression is a plus b whole cube, so which is 1 minus 3b minus 3 sine square cos square into a plus by 6. अब इसको अगर आप सब्ट्रैक्ट करोगे तो वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली विल गेट 1 by 4 minus half sine square cos square minus 1 by 6 plus half sine square cos square. So that gets killed in the process, and answer is 1 by 12. The other method of doing this will be, you can directly take this expression to be y and differentiate, right, dy dθ, and if you see the differentiation, very interestingly you'll get it 0, okay, for all theta belonging to. So it means y must be constant. So if it is constant, I can put, to find constant any value, let's say put theta equals 0 और x equal to 0, तो x 0 पे ये कितना हो जाएगा? 0 और ये 1, तो f के 0 जो हो गया वो मेरा 1 हो गया, corresponding to 4 and 6 I am telling. It's not f के 0 only for k equal to 4 और 6, ये वाला एक्सप्रेशन मैं रख रहा हूँ, तब तो फिर ये गेम ही ख़त्म है. ठीक है, so we have answer is 1 by 4 minus 1 by 6, because it's 1 by k for 4 and 6, which is 1 by 2. So this is also a basic questions. Next question is, if sin alpha and cos beta is minus half, right, then we have to find the possible value of cos alpha and sin beta. Now this is something really interesting, because it's not something very obvious just to think of. तो यहाँ पे again the thought process is sin alpha cos alpha is given and we need to connect with cos sin. तो sin a cos b cos a sin b करके कुछ feeling आ रहा है, so I can relate this with the formula sin alpha plus b. So that's quite natural way of invoking this formula. So sin a cos b minus cos alpha sin beta. And now we know this quantity is given to be half. So cos alpha and sin beta is minus half minus sin of alpha plus beta, and this entire quantity will belongs from minus 1 to 1. Hence this will go from minus 3 by 2 to minus 3 by 2 to half, right? So now I can tell this belongs to minus half to 3 by 2. So I hope this is very clear. In fact 3 by 2 will not be included here. But similarly, we also know sin alpha minus beta is also a way to connect. So that will give sin a cos b. In fact this will be plus here. Okay. Okay, so way to connect sin alpha cos beta and cos alpha sin beta was using sin alpha plus beta, and that is sin alpha cos beta minus cos alpha and sin beta. In fact, it will be plus cos alpha sin beta. So sin alpha plus beta is sin alpha cos beta plus cos alpha sin beta. अब यहाँ पे sin alpha cos beta का value minus half if I'll put, and this itself dance from minus 1 to 1. So that gives a window on cos alpha sin beta. So it gives cos alpha sin beta. यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो, you put minus half that side, so it will be plus half. So it's half plus minus 1 and half plus 1. So this belongs to minus half to 3/2. 3/2 को exclude किया. Now you think why excluded? It's a very small thing. Similarly, because I can also write sin alpha minus beta as sin alpha cos beta and minus cos alpha sin beta. So again same stuff. If I'll keep minus 1 and this dances from minus 1 to plus 1, that restricts cos alpha sin beta to go from which values? Minus 3/2 to half. So it's minus 3/2 to half. ठीक है, तो यहाँ से फाइनली वी गॉट द आंसर फॉर आवर दिस एक्सप्रेशन. दिस गोज फ्रॉम minus half. So it seems this is the answer to the problem. In fact, this is the answer, but what we have not shown here right now is cos alpha sin beta, can it obtain each and every value in this interval? Okay, because that existence are not shown. It possible to, I know like this will be in this window, but it is possible for this expression just with the given relation to exhaust all the possible value, and it's possible. For example, if we'll take cos alpha and sin beta whole square, so this is 1 minus sin square alpha into 1 minus cos square beta, ऐसे कर सकते हैं. और फिर इसको यू कैन राइट एज 5/4 माइनस sin square alpha plus cos square beta. This can be written as 5/4 minus sin alpha plus cos beta whole square plus 2 sin alpha cos beta. Sin alpha cos beta is given, so that gives 1/4 minus sin alpha cos beta whole square, right? And now sin alpha, if I take x and y, and x and y from minus 1 to 1, xy minus 2, so sin alpha cos beta is clearly, you know, like that will go from the window, it will be less than equals half. तो यहाँ से बाउंड्री कंडीशन से आप प्रूव कर सकते हो यहाँ से. now by taking the range of sin alpha cos beta, if you want still it can be done. So you take x equals sin alpha and y equals suppose cos beta. So xy is definitely belonging to minus 1 to 1 and xy equals minus half. So if you consider the range of x plus y, let's call it sum as s, ठीक है. तो फिर हम क्या हो जाएंगे, if xy equals minus 2x plus y equal to x, then x and y are the roots of, I can tell xy is the roots of which equation, u square minus su and minus half equal to 0. So xy will get s plus minus root over s square plus 2/2. Now by checking the boundary condition that this should be less than equal to 1, you obtain s is less than equal to half. Similarly, by checking other boundary condition, you conclude it has a pair of solution xy with that. So hence it is proven now mathematically that all the values here in this interval will be achieved. तो ये काफ़ी एक शानदार सा क्वेश्चन था जहाँ पे existence and the proving the existence was also required. इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस जो है ये काफ़ी फेमस है जेई में, जहाँ पे मिनिमम बाउंड्री कंडीशन इज गिवन टू एक्सट्रैक्ट फ्रॉम दिस. Let's move to the last question, and it's really surprisingly beautiful, comparatively tougher than the previous one. So alpha is pi/7. Now this is not a well-known angle, right? Because if you see, this angle is not very good angle A. First part is to show sin square 3a minus sin square a, which feels quite easy because sin a minus b, sin a minus sin b into sin a plus sin b से we can use transformation. Second part भी manipulate कर सकते हैं. Third, fourth में it is clubbed with equation. Fifth में it's have to show is irrational, and 6, 7, 8, 9 is irrational. So let's try this question. So I think first part is quite a standard one, so there is nothing much effort there, because to solve part A we can write sin 3a प्लस साइन ए इंटू साइन 3a माइनस साइन ए. Now just use transformation formula 2 sin a plus b by 2. So sin 2 alpha cos 2 alpha that will give 2 sin alpha cos alpha. तो ये यहाँ से बन गया रिएक्ट करके. ये क्वांटिटी दिस बिकम्स sin 4 alpha राइट बाय क्लबिंग, और दूसरा क्वांटिटी बिकम्स sin 2 alpha. ठीक है. Now what is sin 4 alpha? Because we know 7 alpha or 7a जो भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ that is pi. So 7a can be written as sin 4a plus 3a equals pi, and sin theta is sin pi minus theta. So that automatically gives the answer is sin 4 alpha. If I call this alpha, so 7 alpha is 4 alpha plus 3 alpha, and that is pi. So साइनिंग ऑन बोथ साइड sin 4 alpha is sin pi minus 3 alpha, so sin 3 alpha. तो यहाँ से तो ये पक्का हो गया, इट इज सेम एज sin 2 alpha sin 3 alpha. आई एम टेकिंग a एज alpha टू प्रूव. तो फर्स्ट पार्ट है. सेकंड में कॉसिकेंट वाला आपको प्रूव करना है. ठीक है. सो कॉसिकेंट इज 1 बाई sin a इक्वल्स 1 बाई sin 2a प्लस 1 बाई sin 4a. तो इसमें जस्ट वी नीड टू प्रूव sin 2a into sin 4a is sin a times sin 2a and plus sin 4a. Or basically we have to prove this यहाँ से 2 sin a cos a and sin 4a is sin a times 2 sin 3a cos a. Now it is already done by sum to product formula. तो ये तो obvious हो गया. Third part is cos a माइनस cos 2a प्लस cos 2a को इवेलुएट करना है. तो ये इंटरेस्टिंग है. देखो cos a माइनस cos 2a प्लस cos 3. तो इसको वी कैन डू इन मेनी वेज. ठीक है. लाइक थर्ड पार्ट कैन बी डन इन मेनी वेज. वन ऑफ द वे ऑफ डूइंग इज यू कैन ऑल्सो यूज ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फार्मूला, या फिर विदाउट ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन भी आप कर सकते हो इसको. ठीक है. तो चलो अगर मैं ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फार्मूला का यूज़ करता हूँ तो 1 and 3 becomes their average is 2. So I'll write cos a plus cos 3a minus cos 2a. Use transformation, so 2 cos a plus a by 2, 2 cos 2a into cos a minus by 2, 2 cos a minus cos 2. यहाँ से cos 2a कॉमन ले लेंगे, 2 cos a minus 1 plus 4 minus 2 cos square a माइनस 2 cos a प्लस 1. तो अब फिर यहाँ से भी आप थोड़ा गेम खेल सकते हैं, बिकॉज यू नो 4 cos क्यूब थीटा माइनस 3 cos थीटा इक्वल्स cos 3 थीटा. तो अगर मैं वो वाला गेम खेलूँ तो आई कैन सब्ट्रैक्ट माइनस cos a एंड वी कैन ऐड प्लस cos a. ठीक है. एंड दिस को इफ आई क्लब विद दैट सो आई गेट cos 3 pi by 7 माइनस 2 cos स्क्वायर पाई बाई 7 प्लस cos बाई 7. ठीक है. अब इसको आप इक्वेशन से रिलेट कर सकते हो. इसको यूजिंग इक्वेशन से आप रिलेट कर सकते हो. एक तो ये तरीका है ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का. ठीक है. और दूसरा तरीका इसका ये भी हो सकता है जो आप डायरेक्टली इसको टेलीस्कोपिक में भी वी कैन ट्राई टू पुट. सो एनीवे इसका आप वैल्यू कैलकुलेट कर सकते हो. फिर ये कैलकुलेट करोगे तो यहाँ से वैल्यू हाफ आने वाला है. Right, so that you can check, and the value that we'll get is half. Right, where product to some formula is no. क्योंकि देखो अब इसको एक बच्चे इस टाइप में भी लिख सकते हैं. इसको एक और अगर सिंपल तरीके से अगर आप लिखने जा रहे हैं तो cos 3a how it's related and cos a like how we can relate this. तो देखो since a is pi by 7, right, so we have already seen there is a connection between 3a and 4a. So 7a is pi, so we can write 3a equals pi minus 4a. तो cos 3a को we can write as cos pi minus theta and that becomes minus cos 4a. ठीक है. सिमिलरली cos a को अगर हम cos a ही रहने दें तो we have cos a, ठीक है, and minus cos 2a and minus cos 4a, because it's always wise to write in terms of trigonometric form with common difference. तो अब यहाँ पे तो common difference अपना 2 आ गया, बट यहाँ पे common difference है, so we'll try to again change cos a with a common difference of 2. So 2 4 is there, so we'll try to relate a with 6a. And that's also possible because 7a pi, again I can write a plus 6a equals pi. तो यहाँ से cos a can be written as minus cos 6a. तो अब my life is interesting. So I'm giving you method 2 of doing this. So the given expression is just minus cos of 2a plus cos 4a and plus cos 6a. ठीक है, अब इस एक्सप्रेशन को आप फिर आसानी से इवेलुएट कर सकते हो. सपोज x इज cos 2a plus cos 4a plus cos 6a. So let's multiply with 2 times of sine of common difference by 2. Usual way of telescoping. So common difference 2a by 2. So that is. तो हम 2 sin a से अगर मल्टीप्लाई कर दें इस पूरे एक्सप्रेशन को 2 sin a एंड 2 sin a से, तो फर्स्ट वाला जो क्वांटिटी है ये अपने पास क्या गया 2 sin a cos b, तो sin a प्लस बी sin 3a माइनस sin a माइनस b. ठीक है, तो ये sin a प्लस बी माइनस sin a माइनस b. तो प्लस साइन ये आ गया. सेकेंड इज अगेन प्लस साइन ए प्लस बी साइन 5a एंड माइनस साइन 3. Now this quantity we can handle by taking, suppose this is x and minus I'll keep at the last. So if I multiply with 2x sine of common difference by 2, which is a, so we have sin a cos 2a times 2. Sin a cos 2a times 2 plus again 2 sin a cos 4a प्लस 2 sin a cos 6a. तब यहाँ से देखो 2 sin a cos b इज sin a प्लस बी, तो यहाँ पे sin 3a माइनस sin a माइनस बी sin. यहाँ पे अगेन sin a प्लस बी 5a माइनस sin 3a. We have sin 7a minus sin 5a. So a lot of cancellation is there. Sin 5a is cancelling this, sin 3 is cancelling this, so we are left with sin 7a minus sin. अब देखो sin 7a is 0 because 7 is pi, तो आंसर इज माइनस साइन ए. तब ये तो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग हो गया, क्योंकि ये इंटरेस्टिंग इस सेंस में हो गया कि साइन ए कैंसिल हो गया एंड एक्स का वैल्यू आ गया माइनस हाफ. बट रिमेंबर द क्वेश्चन वाज माइनस एक्स माइनस ऑफ एक्स एंड आंसर इज प्लस हाफ. ओके, सो दिस वाज अ गुड प्रॉब्लम ऑन बेसिक्स. नेक्स्ट इज प्रूव दैट cos a is a root of this equation. मतलब cos pi by 7 will satisfy this. Now clearly you can't simply put cos 5 by 7 and you can verify. Like that can be done क्योंकि यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो x cube में. So maybe I can use help of 4 cos cube theta minus 3 cos theta and that is actually cos 3 theta. तो इसका हेल्प करके भी इसको सिंप्लीफाई किया जा सकता है, ऐसा बात नहीं है जो नहीं किया जा सकता. लेकिन यूजुअल ट्रिक ऑफ कनेक्टिंग दिस विद द इक्वेशन है डायरेक्टली टू डेवलप द इक्वेशन. ठीक है, अब इक्वेशन को हम कैसे डेवलप करेंगे डी पार्ट में, देखो दैट इज़ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. सो फॉर डी पार्ट अगेन वी नो 3a प्लस 4a इक्वल्स पाई एंड वी नीड टू कनेक्ट कॉस ए. तो इसके लिए आई कैन टेक साइन ऑन बोथ साइड्स. सो साइन 3a इज साइन ऑफ पाई माइनस 4a विच इज साइन 4a. अब कॉस भी ले सकते हो. अब डबल एंगल फार्मूला से 3 साइन थीटा इंटू 4 माइनस 4 साइन क्यूब थीटा एंड नेक्स्ट टर्म इज गोइंग टू बी 2 साइन 2a cos 2a, ये वाला. और इसको फिलहाल राइट 4 साइन a cos a, क्योंकि फाइनली cos a जाना है एंड cos 2a. तो यहाँ से आप देख सकते हो 3 माइनस 4 1 माइनस cos स्क्वायर a, क्योंकि साइन a को हम कैंसिल कर सकते हैं, साइन a इज नॉट 0. And that becomes 4 cos a into 2 cos square a minus. इसको सिंप्लीफाई करेंगे तो we are getting 8 cos cube minus 4 cos square minus 4k is plus 1 equal to 0, right? So now you can clearly see that u equals 2 cos a जो है that is the equation, the roots of this cubic, u cube minus u square minus 2u plus 1 equal to 0. एक तो यहीं से ये प्रूफ हो गया, ये जो एक्सप्रेशन व्हाट दे आर आस्किंग ये तो ऑटोमेटिकली पार्ट डी में प्रूफ हो गया, ठीक है। अब नेक्स्ट पार्ट के लिए आई हैव टू चेक दैट इट्स एन इरेशनल नंबर, ठीक है। तो इरेशनैलिटी ऑफ दिस इज ऑल्सो प्रूव्ड फ्रॉम दिस इक्वेशन, क्योंकि देयर कैन नॉट बी रैशनल रूट, दैट इज फ्रॉम गॉस लेमा। The only possible rational root of the above cubic will be the factor of this constant term divided by this. The only possible root set will be plus minus 1 by 8 if there is any rational, plus minus 1 by 4, plus minus 1 by 2 and plus minus 1. And now you can check neither of these root is working for this equation. तो इस equation का कोई rational root तो होने वाला नहीं है, ठीक है। तो डेफिनेटली जो रूट होगा इसका, रूट्स आर रियल, क्योंकि एटलीस्ट वन रियल रूट तो गारंटी है इस इक्वेशन का, बिकॉज क्यूबिक, okay, even with minus 1 to 1 restricted cubic is there because cos is itself changing from minus 1 to 1. अब यहाँ पे cos is not changing because cos is fixed value, okay। तो ये जो रूट आएगा वो तो सिंगल रूट आएगा and that will be irrational, वो तो पक्का है। so just follows from rational root theorem, ठीक है। so this part is in now f में we need to correct। अब देखो the beauty of the part f g h I is symmetric, because in all this part we need to correct tan a, tan 2a and tan 3, and it feels like first में product of root is second में alpha square plus beta square plus gamma square, third में sum of product of root squares taken two at a time, and fourth में sum of reciprocal of root। तो ये तो again theory equation से motivated question है, ठीक है। all those problems are connected, so I'll jointly do for E part, F part, G part and H part, ठीक है। तो इस पार्ट के लिए अगेन विल राइट 3a plus 4a is pi, but this time we'll use tanning on both sides, so tan 3a is tan of pi minus 4a is minus tan 4a। तो यहाँ से इक्वेशंस जो बना tan 3a plus tan 4a equals 0, and now you can use the usual tan formula, right? So 3 tan theta minus tan cube theta a 1 minus 3 tan square. Remember tan square is not 1 by 3 because tan theta is not 1 by root 3. अब इसको again we can write as 2 tan theta by 1 minus tan square 2a equals 0. Tan 2a again we can decode as 2 tan a by 1 minus tan square a, that we can put here. In fact, there is a general formula for tan theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3 plus theta 4 also, which is s1 minus s3 divided by 1 minus s2 plus s4, where s1 is sigma tan taken one at a time, s3 is 3 at a time, like theta 1 theta 2 theta 3 2 3 4, तो इसमें 4 से 3 टर्म्स आएगा, 4 टर्म, s2 मीन्स 6 टर्म्स आएगा, इट्स लाइक सिग्मा tan थीटा i थीटा tan थीटा j टाइप का, एंड s4 में आएगा 4 टर्म्स मीन्स tan थीटा 1 tan थीटा 2 tan theta 3 and tan theta 4. So this we have already discussed in the class for you guys. तो आप वहाँ से भी इसको सॉल्व कर सकते हो। अगर पूरा इसको अब तामझाम थोड़ा करोगे, ठीक है, तो फाइनली जो इक्वेशंस आएगा वो आपके पास आ जाएगा 1 माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर होल क्यूब प्लस 6 टाइम्स 1 माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर होल स्क्वायर माइनस 12 एक्स स्क्वायर 1 माइनस एक्स स्क्वायर माइनस 8 एक्स स्क्वायर इक्वल टू 0. इट्स वर्थ डूइंग बिकॉज यू आर रिवार्डेड the answers for EFGH part at once. So once you apply this, ठीक है, जैसे आप अप्लाई करेंगे वो चारों पार्ट का जाएगा। अब यहाँ से आपको ऑलरेडी रूट्स पता है, क्योंकि पाई बाई 7 का जो है वो रूट्स आपको पता होने वाला है। कैसे पता होने वाला है? क्योंकि दिस इक्वेशन इज द विल गिव 10a एज अ रूट, सो 10 इज सेटिस्फाइंग। सो क्लियरली पाई बाई 7, 2 पाई बाई 7, 3 pi by 7, 4 pi by 7, 5 pi by 7, everything 6 pi by 7, and 7 pi by 7 is basically pi, right? तो अब देखो like 10 pi which is 0, so 0 is clearly not the root of this equation, तो ये तो गया। so इसका रूट जो होगा, इसका रूट is basically 10 pi by 7 से लेके 6 pi by 7 तक है। अब ऐसा क्यों होगा, क्योंकि सम ऑफ यू माइट डाउट सर यू स्टार्टेड विद 10a बट हाउ यू आर टेलिंग इट मीन्स इट्स रूट शुड बी ओनली 10π/7, हाउ यू आर टेलिंग इट्स रूट इज 10 2π/7 ऑल्सो। देखो दैट्स द ब्यूटी, दिस इज 6 डिग्री इक्वेशन, तो एक ही रूट तो नहीं होगा, इसका 6 रूट होगा इन टोटल। नाउ माई क्लेम इज दीज आर द रूट्स, सो माई क्लेम इज इस रूट इज 10 I/7 where I is running from 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now let me give a justification to this usually which we miss. देखो when I have written the equation, how this equation is born, this equation is born out of this fundamental mother, फिर यहाँ से ये आया 10 3a plus 10 4a। अब इंस्टेड ऑफ 3a plus 4a सपोज अगर कोई पाई के बदला कुछ और लिख लेता, ठीक है, जैसे if a is π/7 then what will get 3a plus 4 is pi, but what if a is 2π/7, so that will give 2π/7 means 6π and that is 8π, right? If a is 2π/7 what will get, so this is 6π/7 and plus 8π/7, so it's 14π/7, so that is 2π. So if instead of a, if someone would have started with 3a plus 4a equals 2π, then what will get 3a equals 2π minus 4a, तो फिर 10 3a equals 10 of 2π minus 4a। फिर यहाँ पे भी तो सेम इक्वेशन बन रहा है 10 3a plus 10 4a equals 0। इसका मतलब if a is 2π/7 the corresponding equation that we'll get is this, it means this equation must give a root as 10 2π/7 also। with the same logic आप 3π/7 से भी करवा सकते हो, 4π/7 से भी करवा सकते हो, 5π/7 6π/7 से, ठीक है। अब 8π/7 जो होगा वो बैक टू 7π/7 हो जाएगा, बिकॉज द रूट्स ऑफ दिस इक्वेशन कैनॉट क्रॉस 6, इट मीन्स and since 10 is a periodic function, since 10 is a periodic function, ठीक है, तो 0 to pi में whatever root we are getting in one period, now in other periods also same root will be repeated, so that discards the existence of 8π/7 9π/7 because that will be now repetition। So final answers is this, all roots are available in pictures। अब once these roots are available in picture, again very interestingly आप क्या बता सकते हो, देखो 10π/7 और 6π/7 में रिलेशन है, ये कैसे, we have 10π/7 and what is 10 6π/7, it can be written as 10 of pi minus π/7 which is 10 of pi minus theta, so it's minus 10 π/7। so this 6 root is fundamentally these 3 root only, 10 π/7 10 2π/7 and 10 3π/7, और तो ये 3 रूट है, और 3 रूट जो बचा वो 10 minus π/7 minus 2π/7 एंड माइनस 10। बहुत ही शानदार क्वेश्चन है थ्योरी इक्वेशन को रिलेट करने का बेसिक से। तो अब मेरे पास रूट आ गया अल्फा बीटा गामा एंड माइनस अल्फा माइनस बीटा माइनस गामा। अब सम ऑफ रूट प्रोडक्ट ऑफ रूट यू ऑलरेडी नो, अप्लाई दिस, और आप ऑल चारों आंसर्स को आराम से इवैल्यूएट कर दीजिए। पुट योर आंसर इन द कमेंट सेक्शन इफ यू हैव डन दिस। आई स्ट्रांगली फील अगर आप ये पूरे क्वेश्चंस को खुद से या फिर इवन आफ्टर सीइंग सॉल्यूशंस अप्रिशिएट कर पा रहे हो फुल अंडरस्टैंडिंग से, जेनेटिक्स समझ पा रहे हो, तो आपका ट्रिग्नोमेट्री काफ़ी अच्छे लेवल पे है एंड यू डोंट नीड मच असाइनमेंट आफ्टर दिस। ओके, आई विल कम विथ सम मोर असाइनमेंट्स